So I was like, yeah, I'm going to go to like culinary school in the mountains. And they're like, no, you're fucking not. Like, if you're going to do this, at least, you know what I mean, go somewhere serious. And,
yeah.
You know, so I went and I looked at Kendall. I looked at Le Cordon Bleu. I was like, all right, I'll stay in Chicago. And so I went to Le Cordon Bleu. And the program was you went 5 days a week and you go 5-6 hours a day. And the class was just built on each other. So that was it, Monday through Friday. My first week there, I met a couple of guys, and one of them, and I was like, yeah, I need a job. And one of them was like, yeah, I just started at this restaurant. It just opened, this week. He goes, it's a block away from here, though. He's like, they need people. I can get you in. All right. So after school that day, we walked in this restaurant. I interviewed with the GM and the chef. And the chef was like, you don't have, your cooking experience is bullshit. You can't work in the kitchen here. But the GM was like, you have some front of house experience. I'll take you as a busboy, server, assistant, whatever. Cool. I'll take the job. And so it ended up being this restaurant, Table 52.
Okay.
Robert Smith's restaurant. I had no idea who he was. I had no idea who any of these people were. I had never worked in, like, a restaurant like this. So I walked in, and I was like, okay, I've worked at a restaurant. What could be different? And, like, all the front of the house people, they were all ex-Charlie Trotters people, so they were all, like, fucking hardcore. The consulting chef opening it was a Trotters and French Laundry vat, and just, like, super, super, like, old school, intense, like,
Got you.
Skinny little white dude who talked like Macho Man Randy Savage, and like get in your face, like, you fuck this up, like I'm gonna fucking beat your ass.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you talking about right now? Like, and I think that was my first introduction to like fake chef machismo, fucking bullshit of kitchens.
Yep.
Which was super strange to me, especially like coming from like the south side of Chicago, just like Like, why everybody talking like they're going to beat people up all the time?
Yeah, because if you talk like that in the street, the next thing that happens is a fight.
People just punch people.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, people are going to punch people, don't say anything. They just walk up and fucking punch people. This is insane. I got a job there, and I was working in front of the house, and then on my days off, I would go spend time in the kitchen, stage, and for free, and just, to try to get my feet wet a little bit. And then after a few weeks, the chef was like, hey, why don't you come, you can be in the kitchen full time.
Okay, cool.
So there was this young chef de cuisine there, this guy, Ray Villalobos, and he just gave me a shot. And he was like, we could try it out. And I was like, cool, awesome.
Yeah.
No idea what I'm doing. So I would go to school Monday through Friday from basically 9 a.m., 4 p.m., and we would literally run from school to the restaurant to get there before service. Finish setting up my station as quick as I could with my station partner, work service till 12 or 1, go home, do it again.
Yeah.
And so I worked 6 days a week. I went to school 5 days a week. So for a year and a half of my life, all I did was cook. And that's how I kind of got into it. I just inundated my life. I just decided that I was like, nothing else is going to matter for this year and a half. Like, I basically, stopped talking to 90% of my friends. I, broke up with my girlfriend.
Yeah.
And I just was like, this is, like, time to, like, shit or get off the pot, get my life together, and I'm just going to grind. And so I did. I just went super fucking hard. And, we were being, like, idiot line cooks, and we were still, staying out too late, and, like, sleeping 3 hours a night and just living on, Red Bull and cigarettes. And just, like, I was, like, looking real svelte, but, you know what I mean, just living, like, absolute shit. I was living in my parents' basement.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, it was a fucking mess.
The classic cook life.
Yeah, just really,
Red
at one
Bull
point,
and cigarettes. That's fucking...
Like, at one point, me and my best friend were both living in my parents' basement because, like, I had, like, left a job for another job and, like, that fucking didn't pan out at all, and they never paid me, and I was like, yeah, we were supposed to get an apartment. I can't. You got to move into my parents' house with me.
Oh, God, that's so funny.
Which was kind of awesome. But yeah, so that's kind of how I got in.
Very cool. So how was that 15-month program? After that, what did you decide to do?
So at that point, I had been at Table 52 for 15 months, as well as the program. I stayed there for about another 6 months, and I think I hit that point where, and maybe this is just me, but, Table 52 was fucking white-hot restaurant at that time. You know what I mean? We were cooking for the Obamas and Oprah and fucking every celebrity.
Yeah.
And, hot taken in town. So, I think it's when you're a young cook, you think, well, I work at this place. I am this place. Mm-hmm. I'm as good as this place is.
Yeah.
Which, was wildly fucking untrue.
Yeah.
For me, at least. You know what I mean? I was, like, still cutting pieces of my finger off that were big enough that I'd have to like throw them away.
Yeah.
And you know, like, so I was ready to go on for something else. So I got this job. I remember I applied for this job, and they hired me to be a line cook at this place called Johnny D's. And it was this little Italian joint that they were opening on Flournoy and Racine, like right in Little Italy here in Chicago. Like, awesome. Want to cook Italian food. This could be fucking sick. They're going to make their own pastas. They're talking about doing their own charcuterie. Mm-hmm. Love it. Worked there. Spent about 2 months there getting this place open. Small crew. We're open for 3 days. Fourth day I walk in. Chef says, hey, can I talk to everybody in the in the dining room? He pulls in the dining room. He's like, yeah, we're done. They're closing. Like, there's no money.
What?
None of us are getting paid. So they'd owed me for like 2 months. And it was like, I should have known better. It was an extraordinarily great life lesson to happen at that point. It sucked that it happened to me. I hope it never happens to fucking anyone.
Yeah.
But of like, one, not knowing who I was getting into bed with as far as like who any of these people were. And I went from being at the hottest restaurant in town to falling completely flat on my face and just like, being fucking embarrassed. Mm-hmm. Like, I was like, oh, I left this. I was, going out the door like, yeah, I'm going to go crush it over there. I'm going to be like gunning for that sous chef's job.
Yeah.
And do all these things and, just too big for my fucking britches. And just like fell flat on my face. And it was like fucking embarrassing. And it was at a time in Chicago. This was 2009.
Gotcha. So it was booming here.
But there were so many cooks in this city at this point, this is insane to think about now. I remember I had 2 years of Table 52 experience. I had a culinary degree, and I sent my resume after that place closed to 40 places, and one of them got back to me. I remember I interviewed at one place. I interviewed with the chef de cuisine there, and I told him I couldn't stage the next day. And he said, then I don't even know why you're fucking wasting my time. I was like, well, I can stage the day after that. He's like, if you can't stage tomorrow, he's like, just get the fuck out of here.
Jesus,
and I was like, are you serious? And he was like, he's like, yeah, you'd see yourself out. Which is like, now to think about that is insane.
That is so dumb.
Like Eddie Cook being like, oh, I could stage 3 months from now. You'd be like, put it on the calendar.
Yeah.
I will put it on the calendar. 3 years from now, I'll fucking write it down.
Exactly.
But that's what it was, and I think cooks now don't even understand that. It was just like nobody would even give me an interview, and I finally got a job at this private club, the University Club of Chicago, and my brother-in-law worked in the building as like a stationary engineer, and so he's like, hey, one guy just left. He's like, I can get you an interview with the chef. So I went and I interviewed with the chef de cuisine there, and these guys they had been at Four Seasons for 25 years, and they left, and this was basically their retirement. Was running this private, 14-story club on the corner of Monroe in Michigan. And the interview, I just remember this dude was so fucking serious. This guy Rafat. He was, hardcore Palestinian dude. And we get in the interview, and he's like asking me how to make like classic French sauces, and I didn't know how to make them.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean? I never had an interview like this. And I was just like, and I'm like telling him wrong. And he ends the interview with this. He goes, listen. He goes, I don't like people who went to your culinary school. He's like, I don't like hiring, you young white boys coming out of culinary school who think you can cook. Mm-hmm. Like, he goes, you're probably not going to work out here, and I'm probably going to hate you. He's like, but I know your brother-in-law, and I like him. He's like, so I'll give you 6 weeks. And I was like, done. So I took the job, and I remember they started me at $13 an hour. And I remember I walked out, I called like my best friend. I was like, dude, they're going to give me $13 an hour. And he was like, whoa. Like, we're like, yeah, dude, this is like, I'm like the richest person anyone knows.
After this 6 weeks, I'm retiring.
Yeah. Take a summer in Monaco. Yeah. So I worked there in this place, and I mostly did banquets, but everyone who worked there had been there for 20 years because it was a great job. They had good benefits. But they were like, this guy, the head chef there was this guy, Mark Baker, and he had run Seasons in the Four Seasons for 30 years, and he had opened Four Seasons hotels all over the world, and he was, old school French. I mean, just like all the sauce work was just, shit was so hard.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? We're like tornading all the vegetables for for 125 people, and I was so I mean, I just spent, my first 3 months there, I just got shit on every day. You know what I mean? Just like the chef would come over to like tell the executive sous chef what I was doing wrong, and like without talking to me.
Yeah.
And then the executive Rafat would just fucking light me up and just like, and I was just like, God damn it.
So you made it past the 6-week mark, though.
I made it past. I remember 6 weeks came up, and after the 6 week, I knocked on Rafat's door. I was like, "Hey, chef, it's like, so 6 weeks, like, I still work here?" And he was like, "Yeah." He's like, "You're fine." And the funniest thing was the reason he came around to me. Like, I started doing better, and I found some people who kind of, it was a mostly Latino kitchen, and then there was one Bosnian lady who worked there, this lady Amina, who was like, she was like a nurse in the Bosnian War, and then got into cooking, and she was like fucking hard as nails. Yeah. But she loved me because my wife's Croatian, so she found out I was dating a Croatian girl, and she was like, "Do her parents like you?" I was like, "Oh, they love me." She was like, "You must be a good boy then." So I got her on my side, and that kind of gave me some street cred around there. But then Rafat figured out he loved to gamble. That was like his one vice. He didn't drink, he didn't smoke, he didn't do anything, but he loved to gamble. And these guys used to all bet on everything. And the one thing nobody knew anything about was American football. So Rafat figured out I knew about American football.
So you could help him make bets.
Like, pick like the confidence pool and like how to bet. And so it's like, and then after that he was like,
"Yeah, you're making him money."
He was like, "All right. This guy's okay."
This guy's all right, yeah.
So that was kind of my in with him. But I worked at this place. I worked there for exactly 365 days.
Okay.
I was like, I have to make it a year here. It was hard. You know what I mean? I did every job nobody wanted to do. It was like I was stock bitch. I was soup bitch. I was, you know what I mean? It was like, and it was, make, 50 gallons of chowder.
Oh, my God.
Make 50 gallons of French onion soup. So it's like you'd sit there and
how many
like
onions
my prep
is that?
was
3 cases?
Yeah, it would be 3 50-pound bags.
Yeah.
Or, with all the banquet stuff, it's like you'd have a prep list of 6 things that's 11 hours worth of work.
Yeah.
And you're just like, it'd be like sear off 1,100 fillets. So you're just like, and they were like pre-portioned fillets and like the cryo.
Yeah.
So it'd take you 2 hours to open
Just
them,
to open the package.
to open them, and then another hour to season all of them, and then you'd have them all lined up, and then you'd just sit there and you'd be like, you'd be sitting there grilling fillets for 4 hours. Like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? Like, so that place, but, I learned a ton. And, I mean, they were extremely talented people. It was just, very old school kitchen. Like, you didn't talk to the chef unless he talked to you. You didn't touch anything unless somebody told you to touch it. Like, if a plate was wrong, like, it was coming in back at you with speed.
Yeah.
And like if you fuck something up, like you were thrown offline, and you'd stand in the corner and watch.
Yeah.
And so it was interesting.
It's old school discipline.
Yeah. And I went from there to being on the opening team at Girl on the Go.
Okay.
Which was like talk about
night and day.
I remember I interviewed with Steph, and I showed up for the interview, and I'm in like business casual clothes, and I'm 45 minutes early. And
she's like, the front of the house interviews her tomorrow.
Right. And she rolls in like a half hour late. Like they just came from the restaurant.
Yeah.
They're like fucking, wearing like, she's wearing like a t-shirt and like cook pants and like clogs, and like her and her chef de cuisine, they're both like dirty, and it's just like, they're like, she walks in and I walk up, I'm like, "Chef, how are you?" And she just looks at me and she goes, "Fuck, you're tall, huh?" And she turns to her chef de cuisine. She goes, "Well, if he can't cook, at least he'll be able to reach the shelves with the plates on him. So that's good." And I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And I sat down and I talked to her for 30 minutes. And I just remember I left that interview and I was like, I got to work for this
I need
lady.
to work, yeah.
It was like, whatever. I was like, don't care what you pay me.
I love that feeling.
And it was like, I left there, and it was, it was a shift pay job. It was $90 a day. Was my starting rate. I was like, done. I'm like, in. Fucking whatever. There was no prep team.
Yeah.
You just, you know what I mean? You had to do everything for your station.
You can show up as early as you wanted.
Yeah, so it was like,
oh, that's great.
When we started, it was like we were working, 9 a.m. to 2 a.m. basically.
Every day.
And it was like, somebody quit every day.
Yep.
Every day, just somebody quit. And
you felt good every time that person quit because you were like, stronger than another one.
Well, and it was, it was one of those places I walked in and I thought to myself, I said, well, I'll never be a sous chef at this place because there's just so many talented people here. I remember, like, that first day of the line, everybody, was saying where they're from, where they came. And everybody was like, oh, I was a sous chef here, now I'm here. I'm a sous chef here, now I'm here. I'm a sous chef here. And I was like, fuck, I've never been a sous chef anywhere. I've only been a line cook. And I was like, oh, I'm Joe. I was the line cook at the University Club of Chicago. And they're all coming from these, like, cool, hot restaurants. And I'm like, I worked at a 104-year-old private club.